to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call the members.
Roll call. Councilor Argenzio.
Here.
Here. Councilor Cogliandro.
Here.
Here. Councilor Janino.
Here.
Here. Councilor Guarino-Sawaya.
Here.
Here. Councilor Hess.
Here.
Here. Councilor Jaramillo.
Here.
Here. Councilor Kelly.
Here.
Here. Councilor McKenna. Here. Councilor Novoselsky. Here. Councilor Zambudo.
Here.
Here. And Council President Silvestri.
Here.
Here. A quorum is present. Approval of the journal of the regular meeting of November 24th.
All in favor, all opposed? So ordered.
Calendar item number 3, the City Council will award the Revere Junior Patriots flag football team for its undefeated season, which concluded with a championship at the NCYFC 2025 flag football tournament on November 1st.
Councilor Hess. 6-7.
Guys, thanks so much for coming. It sounds like you were having a practice out there, but that's great. I love it. Congratulations on an awesome season. You outscored your opponents 226-24, so that's not too shabby. Great job. You ran the table, undefeated season. And I want to give a shout out to the coaches, Anthony, Mark, Alan, Jason. You guys really set the tone from day one, bringing the kids together. You believed in the kids. Everyone bought in. All the kids bought in. The parents did an incredible job. The family participation was awesome, cheering you guys on the road. But great job. Team is made up of first and second graders. I know a few of you are moving up, but a few of you are returning next year. So let's run it back again, guys. Congratulations. Can we have the players come up? And the coaches, too? You guys had me all nervous. I've never been in front of an undefeated team before. Right up here, Henry. Henry, come over here. Stand right there. Stand right there.
You guys are taller than me. I can't. Like, I have to stand up here with you.
Champs. Right, scoot on in. Scoot on in.
Pack it in a little bit, guys, if you can.
Dad, you see me? That's the hammer he just banged. I can see you. I can see you. See? Oh, that's...
So I will read the first certificate. City of Revere, Massachusetts Certificate of Commendation. In acknowledgement of your extraordinary athletic achievement accomplished through perseverance, teamwork, and discipline as a member of the Revere Junior Patriots flag football team in winning the NCYFC 2025 flag football tournament on November 1st, 2025, special recognition is hereby accorded to Nicholas Campanoni. Lincoln Dwyer. Cash Miller. There you go, Cash. Congrats, buddy. Joseph Martinez. He's not here. Justin Moore. Adrian Abdullah. Lorenzo Valerese. Javon Green. Henry Aborn. RJ Haas. Brian Ramirez. There you go, Brian. Good job. Sebastian Artiega Solano. Derek Demosthene. Good job, buddy. Now for the coaches, Anthony Campanoni. Coach Jason Moore. Coach Alan Abdullah. Coach Mark Aborn. All right, guys, on the count of three, Patriots, okay? 1, 2, 3. Patriots! Good job.
We're going to take a 5-minute recess.
Back to the regular order of business.
All right. Did they get you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Six, seven, all right. Madam Clerk, can we skip to number 5 and take up 4 once the gentleman arrives? Sure. Thank you.
Calendar item number 5, the Chief of Planning and Community Development will present the City Council with an overview and full scope of planned work on Harris Street and the surrounding area.
Tom?
Good evening once again, councilors. Tom Skrowski, 281 Broadway, Chief of Planning and Community Development for the city. I'm joined here with our city engineer, Nick Rystrom, our DPW commissioner, Chris Charamella, and Krista Lucas from the Howard Stein Hudson Group, who's worked with us on this project. Happy to just give a quick overview of what's happening and why it's happening, and then turn the floor over to some questions. So just for starters, this project started a long time before I was here at the city. In 2018, 2019, the Development Advisory Group that was meeting over the series of months and years looking at offsite mitigation related to the Suffolk Downs project. This project at Harris Street was identified as one of those potential mitigation items. That was reinforced in 2019 and 2020 through the special permit, as well as the MEPA findings. This is it highlighted in the 2020 MEPA certification as one of the offsite mitigation projects, what we call Section 61 findings, or those things that through the MEPA process, the developer is required to complete as mitigation. So there's been a lot of time and effort prior to my time here at the city in which this was identified as a key area of concern. And then it was reinforced as Suffolk Downs began design. We worked on this as one of the first offsite mitigation projects. We had a series of meetings in 2023 and 2024 where we looked at different iterations of how this intersection configuration would work. Some of those iterations included prohibiting Sewell Street to one-way, prohibiting all of Harris Street to one-way, and various iterations in between. Ultimately, we landed on February 15th of last year. The Traffic Commission ultimately decided on this design, which has now been designed and constructed. We're just waiting on dotting our I's and crossing our T's with National Grid. But this is the design that will be implemented on December 6th, this Saturday, late afternoon. And what it'll look like is basically this. So there'll be 2 northbound turning lanes on Route 16 turning onto Winthrop Avenue. In the other direction, there'll be a new right-bound, I mixed up the directions, but a dual southbound lanes turning onto Winthrop Ave, and then in the other direction, dual right-bound going northbound to turn onto Winthrop Ave. And then due to the conversion of Harris Street to one-way in that first segment of the road, this intersection will go from a 5-leg to a 4-leg intersection. Not only is it less complicated and safer for cars and pedestrians, it also reduces the wait times at that intersection because you don't have to wait through 5 phases, you're only going through 4. So the ultimate end result of this is a more efficient traffic operations at that intersection, additional left-hand and right-hand turns getting onto Winthrop Ave from either side of Route 16, and most importantly, for our purposes, and where this really started with the Suffolk Downs discussions way back when, There's this big goal of removing a lot of regional cut-through traffic from going down Harris Street. And as you can see, the existing regional access, you have about 2,500 vehicles that currently use Harris Street as essentially a cut-through. Although it's a neighborhood road, it's being used as a regional throughway. And the ultimate end goal here is to take 1,500 to 2,000 of those cars and bring them back onto Route 16. It's regional traffic. It belongs on a regional roadway. So more efficient traffic operations, those additional left and right-hand turns, the end result, we hope, is to create a more efficient Route 16 that can keep roads or keep drivers off of our neighborhood streets for what is regional through traffic. So at that meeting in February of 2024, we proposed a phased improvement approach, starting with a 90-day data monitoring period, where we'll have two-way operations on Sewell Street to Bixby with no parking on either side. The balance of Harris Street, for now, will remain two-way, except for that first block from the intersection to Sewell Street. But after this 90-day period, we can take a look at the data and we can see if we need to tweak any of these things, whether Sewell Street converting back to one-way in that segment, or some or all of Harris Street becoming one-way, or remaining in its current operations. And HYM is committed to support the data collection over this 90-day period, setting both the baseline and at various points through this 90 days, taking a look at how traffic is operating, and also contributing $35,000 towards neighborhood improvements coordinated with the city for post-implementation changes that we might need to make to tweak operations, which I'll get to in a minute. And another thing we're doing at the same time, we're working on some Bell Circle improvements. What you see here on the screen is the future $7+ million improvements at Bell Circle that will be implemented when Suffolk Downs gets to 3 million square feet in its development. Just for context, we're at about 400,000 right now. After Portico starts, we'll have another 400,000. So 3 million square feet, we're still a ways out, but as construction picks up, probably not that far out, maybe 2 or 3 years. And then we'll start permitting on this project, which is, as you can see, a pretty comprehensive change along all of Bell Circle, adding slip lanes, extra lanes southbound from Harris, and an extra lane northbound, a left-hand turn from VFW Parkway approach, and additional pedestrian safety improvements and transit priority improvements. These are big changes related to Bell Circle, but the most important one for purposes of this conversation, the reason I bring it up is in those conversations with the Traffic Commission, the 5 or 6 that took place, there was a lot of discussion about what's highlighted in blue here, having a slip lane off of Bell Circle, so traffic coming from Beach Street can get right onto Route 16, because at peak hours there can be a backlog. So we recognize that this $7+ million project that will be stuck in permitting for quite some time is going to take a lot of time and money to get done. We wanted to get this done in the shorter term, so we've actually been working early action. We just submitted 75% design plans to MassDOT and just received comments back, which are relatively minor in nature, and we're aiming then to move forward with a full 100% submission and aim to get started in the spring on the installation of a slip lane at Bell Circle to help address some of the Beach Street traffic so they can ease into Route 16 a little bit easier, again, to avoid Harris Street. So in the short term, this is something we're working on. In the longer term, the broader improvements will take place very soon. And in the meantime, as we prepare for a December 6th launch, just some things we're doing and working on. It's been a lot of interagency coordination, working with MassDOT. Of course, this is their roadway, working with National Grid, gas and electric, and working with various city departments to make sure that folks are well aware of the changes that are about to take place. But we're not relying on that alone. We're also conducting social media outreach, which will start this week, and direct-to-butter flyers in the Sewell Street, Library Street neighborhood just began today. I heard from some counselors that heard from some of their constituents that received some flyers. We are working with our wonderful community liaison team as well as folks at Howard Stein Hudson to make sure we're engaging with folks in multiple different languages and have both local experts with our liaisons, but also technical experts from Howard Stein Hudson to make sure we can answer any questions that they might have. And we're also working on temporary signage at both of these locations on either end at the Beach Street side or the intersection to alert drivers to this upcoming change. Here is a sneak peek of some of the social media posts that we'll be going through, and we've been coordinating with the mayor's office to make sure we're getting the message out, both that these changes are upcoming and what the changes mean, the new turning lanes, what the routes will be for both local and regional traffic. And here's a look at the flyers that we've implemented that both talks about what's happening, but also why it's happening. And then again, on the back gives a sense for both neighborhood and regional through traffic about what this exactly means. And we have this in Spanish, Portuguese, Arabic, and Khmer. So we're really trying to make sure we're leaving no stone unturned and engaging with the community in as many ways as possible. In terms of implementation, we're going to be conducting data pre and post implementation to monitor the changes, to adjust things as needed. We're coordinating with DPW, police, and fire. We're going to be conducting reverse 311 calls to abutters this week and working on some of the notifications to abutters, as I mentioned, as well as coordinating with GPS companies like Google, Waze, and Apple to make sure folks are aware of these coming changes. And to speak briefly on the data collection efforts, which will start later this week. Again, we want to set a baseline so we know exactly where things are today. And we'll have 24-hour TMC collection, turning movements and volume at the intersection itself, and 48-hour ATR, which basically covers volume and speed at these various locations on Sewell Street, further up on Harris, and at the Route 16 approach, as well as at the Beach Street approach to Bell Circle, and then again, turning movement counts right here at Bell Circle, where that slip lane will be installed in the future. And so as we conduct this, the data assessment over the 90 days of implementation, we'll then look at what other tools we might need in our toolbox to help improve any conditions that we feel warrant improving, whether additional traffic calming measures, things like speed humps or others that are in our traffic calming toolkit currently at the city, a full conversion of one-way Harris Street if we feel like the neighborhood would want to see something like that and the conditions warrant. We're not doing that in this pilot because we heard from the neighborhood that's not what they wanted, but just that's always an option in our toolbox if we ever wanted to go that route. Or things like neck downs, which are just traffic interventions that can do exactly what it sounds like, close down the approach to Harris Street so it no longer looks like a two-way approach. And then, of course, signage, turning restrictions, and do not enter signs, which we're already going to be implementing, but if we needed additional signage, we'll always keep that in our back pocket. And then in the medium and long term, looking at sidewalk bump outs along Harris Street to further reinforce the street width, but also make sure we've got safe crossings for people in the neighborhood, permanent traffic diverters like you see here. Again, the Bell Circle slip lane, like I mentioned, and then that's a typo there, but a potential reversal of Eustis Street, or basically any other configuration changes within that neighborhood that we think, based on the data, we might feel is warranted to help improve operations with this. So at that, happy to answer any questions you have about the process and what the next steps are, and with me and the team here.
Thank you very much, Tom. That was very informative. Any city councilors? Council McKenna.
Oh, go ahead.
Council Cogliano.
Thank you, Councilor Cogliandro. I have a bunch of questions. First of all, I want to say that the lack of communication to the residents and to the ward councilors is unacceptable. We got nothing. The other thing, too, is 2 years ago, we sat in front of the Traffic Commission meeting, and and a bunch of residents came from the neighborhood and they were concerned about what was going to happen to their quiet, nice neighborhood. They were going to get inundated with cars, trucks from Waze, whatever, the apps. And we were promised that we would have a community meeting, a couple of them. We haven't had anything. So I'm just so upset about the lack of communication. And it doesn't happen here with you. It happens all the time in the city. The lack of communication. Councilors don't know what's going on, and it just happens. This is just not a renovation to a street. This is a whole neighborhood that's going to be inundated with cars. It's a quiet neighborhood. It doesn't have sidewalks. Right now, people walk in the streets, kids play in the streets, they walk their dog, they do everything. And I just think that Sewell Street's going to be a cut-through. You're talking about Harris Street being a cut-through. Well, you're going to inundate Sewell Street, Bixby Street, Butler Street, Elm Street, Lowell Street, Library Street, all those, that wonderful, quiet neighborhood is going to be inundated with cars cutting through, and trucks, because the apps are going to take them the easiest way possible. So I don't know if you all thought about that. So I have a couple of things that I want to ask you to do before December 6th. It was asked to put a device on Sewell Street to see how many cars enter and leave. I would really like to see that. I know it's December 1st, but if we can get it in tomorrow, just to have that data to see, okay, we have 10 cars coming in and out of Sewell Street on, from 3 to 5, Now we have 50 cars because of the changes in Harris Street. Okay, so I would really like to have that data, how many cars go in and out before we do the change. I want to know, too, at one of the Traffic Commission meetings, you said that Beach Street would get 2 lanes. At one point, you said 2 lanes. So you said one would go into Bell Circle and one would go into Route 16, which would not make a tie-up. Right now, before anything happens, Beach Street is inundated with cars all the way down to Vassar, maybe to the corner, okay? I don't know what's going to happen if we don't put an extra lane in there. And that was supposed to happen. Wasn't that supposed to happen? Because, listen, I've been sitting with HYM since 2017, so I know all this. But it was just put in our faces. There was no community meetings. There was no information to the councilors, to the neighborhood, nothing. You're passing out flyers today. So, I mean, come on. This is terrible. You're going to make a beautiful, quiet neighborhood crazy. You're going to make no issues into a big issue. I know you have 90 days. If this happens, can we change it? Wait, I'm not finished yet. I'm not finished. Okay. Harris Street needs to be paved. National Grid did all the work. It's bumpy. There's divots, there's sinkholes. It needs to be paved. If this is going to be, a street that people are going to use or not use, it needs to be done. So you have to hold National Grid accountable curb to curb, okay? I just, no sidewalks, I said that. I think that's it. That's it. But, I mean, these residents are so concerned about you changing this neighborhood. And yeah, this is wonderful. We're going to get a bunch of cars off of Harris Street, which is a cut-through, but you're going to put it somewhere else. We're just taking it from here and we're putting it over here. And that's how I feel. So I'm done. And look I feel like I have a sunburn because I'm so, but anyways, thank you. Councilor Cogliandro.
Thank you, Councilor. Oh, Councilor Cogliandro.
Thank you, Mr. President and Vice President. Tom, I'm not going to harp on the communication thing. Not very happy that we're finding out today. We're getting flyers. Nothing was included in our packet. I do appreciate you very much being here today going through this entire presentation. I know a lot of work has gone into this, but just to touch on the Traffic Commission meeting, the neighborhood has spoken against this. We have spoken against this. Have you gotten any resident feedback from that area in the positive on these changes?
So I would say that the feedback has been mixed in the Traffic Commission. I would agree with what you'd stated, that often, and just frankly, often in these meetings, the people that are going to come out are the ones that are most angry to.
That's why I asked if you've received
drives
any.
engagement. I mean, I think we do hear from folks on Harris Street that don't want people driving down their neighborhood, and ultimately that this did come from, the 2.5 plus years of permitting work and the Development Advisory Committee that highlighted this as a potential issue. But there are people that are concerned, and I would just, to piggyback Councilor McKenna off of what you had said, and I'll just state this unequivocally, the intent of this is not to bring more people into the neighborhood, it's to bring less people into the neighborhood. And we are collecting data on Sewell Street, we're collecting data on Beach Street, and if the data is sending us in a different direction or telling us that we're not accomplishing that goal, we can pivot and adapt as needed and as we want to, because that is not the intent of this project. I know there are folks who think otherwise, but just to state that plainly and clearly, we are doing this to bring regional traffic off of local roads. And if things aren't working that way, we are going to adjust.
Thank you. So are we fixing something or are we changing something in anticipation of something?
So I would say we're fixing something today. I don't think that many cars should be driving down Harris Street as a cut through as a neighborhood road. I think we are both fixing something and in anticipation of something that would likely exacerbate if we don't take action here. But it isn't just Harris Street. I think making, as somebody who's often sat at the Winthrop Street side of the intersection trying to go down towards Beachmont, especially in PM peak, you're sitting at that intersection forever. And this will also help to expedite the wait time at that intersection. So I do think it will achieve some pretty dramatic changes for a lot of drivers, not just in Harris Street.
Thank you. When were you going to start notifying the residents on Sewell and Bixby that there was not going to be any parking on that small area? Because if we're talking about the same area, that area is heavily used for parking. So my concern is now we're taking parking spaces away from people who have lived there. Where are we expecting them to park? That's a big deal. That's a huge deal.
So we're doing that in our outreach now, and it came out. I take your point, probably a bit too little, too late on that end.
Don't change it, Tom. Sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but how can you do that on such short notice? What are these people going to do? It's not fair to them. And again, I'm not harping on you, but where are they supposed to go?
I think that's probably the quickest and the easiest pivot we could make. And I think the Traffic Commission was pretty adamant at the outset that if we were going to keep Sewell Street or have Sewell Street be two-way in this instance, that they wanted to retain that flexibility. That's a very simple fix that we can make if it's not working out as intended. And something as we're discussing with the neighborhood, I'll make a concerted effort to make sure that point is addressed with those that park on that block.
Thank you. And as far as we're changing traffic patterns in that area, I'm worried about Butler Street. Then you just mentioned changing the direction of Eustis. Is that on the books now, or is that an idea for later on to help some sort of traffic issue?
Yeah, right now we are not doing that. It was more of a point to say, if we're looking at the data and the data is saying some of the things that Councilor McKenna is concerned about, that you're concerned about, we can tweak the model to try to achieve a more efficient outcome. That again is our core goal, is to keep regional drivers off neighborhood streets. So if we can make tweaks that we think will work to that end, we'll work on it.
And what is your plan for enforcement? I think everybody in this city knows that signs don't pull people over, and people in general don't respect them. So we can put up, the flashing signs, we can add signage, but have we spoken to Chief Levita in regards to this big change? Because this is a very big change. I think we can all agree on that, but have we spoken about what we're going to do to enforce drivers going the wrong way? on that street?
So I think there'll be dedicated police details when this is launched in the first place. And I think there will be a period of time where some driver changes in behavior will be necessary. And hopefully the enforcement at the outset, the additional signage that will be placed throughout the area, and just passage of time will help aid in that. But we've certainly been in regular communication with Chief Levita and with the Revere Police Department throughout the process, and we'll continue to do so if it's not working out as intended.
And I can't stress how important that is, especially if we're going to be doing data collection. Do you know what I'm saying? So, and that's another point. We're doing this data collection in the winter. Do we experience more traffic in that area in the winter, or do we experience more in the summer when people are trying to go to the beach? So is this data collection going to be an accurate interpretation of what's actually going through that area?
That's a good question. I mean, I would say this is the best time to test it out as opposed to the summer. So I'm glad we're doing that now. But I think we would have a pretty good sense just based off of the raw percentages of who's cutting through and who's not, if it's working as intended, if it's hitting our targets that we're looking to achieve. I think you could make a strong case that the same that holds true in winter would be in the summer, that it's quicker and easier to take other routes. And although you could take neighborhood streets, our hope and our goal is that it's more complicated to do so, and folks will take the road that is quicker and more efficient. So I think we'll be able to test that assumption through this process.
All right, and talk to me after 90 days, because right now, we don't have any say. The council has no say in this. This is a traffic commission decision. They're working hand in hand with all the departments. It's kind of out of our hands, which again, I do appreciate you very much coming here today. At the end of this 90-day trial, who gets to sit down in a room and make a decision if it's working or not?
That will be a traffic commission decision at the end of the 90-day period. I think we will be building in different points to discuss with the traffic commission, and if the neighborhood would like to have a meeting in the ensuing months, kind of at a midpoint, happy to have that conversation with them as well. The reason, Councilor, we didn't have a neighborhood meeting on this is we felt like the traffic commission meetings we had been holding were pretty well attended by the neighborhood. But if there is a sense that there would be a good location in the neighborhood that would be more central that we want to bring people to, I'm happy to talk with both of you in terms of setting and scheduling that conversation.
Thank you very much. I'm all set, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Argenzio.
Thank you, Mr. President. Before I came on the council, I was the chairman of the Traffic Commission for 6 years, and I presided over quite a few of these meetings, and they were quite heated. I wasn't there for the final vote. I had left by then. But my idea at the time was to make all of Harris Street one way. You couldn't enter it from Beach Street. So I don't understand why the neighborhood would be opposed to that. This quiet neighborhood that Councilor McKenna refers to, there would be, if that happened, there would be no reason to drive into the Library, Bixby, Sewell streets other than going to your home. There would be no cut-through. All cut-throughs would be gone. And I can't understand why there would be an opposition to that. You could still enter the area from Low Street, Elm Street, Library Street. The residents could enter that neighborhood and have the neighborhood to themselves. Can you tell me what the reasoning was that that wasn't considered?
The neighborhood opposition to that was pretty strong. So I would agree with you. I think that's, in my view, the best alternative, and I think something we should all be thinking of is probably the most beneficial solution long-term for that neighborhood. But I also understand that people need to work towards that. And you know what? If we can do it this way and ultimately it doesn't, it allows residents to free flow throughout the neighborhood, I think, like they'd like to, but also prevents that cut-through traffic as we're hoping, great. But if it doesn't, I think that's the quickest and easiest thing we could do. To remove altogether cut-through traffic.
Right. I know the biggest concern was coming down Harris Street, taking a right on Sewell, a left on Elm, and then a left on Winthrop Ave, that would now be the new cut-through. So was there any reason given why they didn't want that? Or?
I believe there's folks in the neighborhood behind me, and I don't want to speak for anyone. I remember the calls and the emails. I'll just leave it at that.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Hess.
Thank you, Mr. President. Tom, thanks so much for being here. Like many of my fellow counselors, I had some questions about the data collection and the timing. I noticed it said December 6, 2025 to be implemented. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and so the data collection will take 90 days. And then after 90 days, you said something about we could possibly hold a community meeting to talk about the findings, what data was collected to see if it actually helped or it hurt the neighborhood. Is that something you would set up or something we would have to call for midway through, or?
So I think it would lean on the counselors in terms of when that and where that meeting should take place. But I will say, you know, we're going to have we were supposed to start tomorrow, but due to the weather, it's not going to. So the 3rd and the 4th will be the baseline data collection. Tentatively, January would be the 45-day period, and then in March, we would have the 90-day period. So somewhere between January and March would probably be the best time to hold a meeting, and I'm happy to hold that, and I'll defer to the counselors on scheduling and the ward counselors.
Thanks. And I know you also said one of the intersection will go to 4 phases instead of 5. Which was that Bell Circle?
That's the intersection in question at Harris Street, Winthrop Ave, Route 16. So currently, if you're on Harris Street heading out towards that intersection, the intersection has a phase that's specially dedicated to those folks. And now, because you won't be able to go in that direction, that phase will go away. So it'll go from a 5-phase to a 4-phase, a more traditional intersection operation.
Thank you. And like many of the counselors said, I'm concerned about those side streets. I'm concerned about the residents on Sewell Street with the parking. And I think the timing, I feel like it was kind of rushed. I know you guys put a ton of work into it. I feel like once I saw the December 6th date, I thought it was going to say December 6th, 2026.
Yeah.
So I was kind of surprised to see that. Thanks.
Understood. Point taken.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Janino.
Thank you, Tom. I was around also when this was first started out back in 17. I was at the meetings at Suffolk Downs, HYM, the whole 9 yards. I'm kind of disappointed with the way it looks right now. I drove by today, and if you're telling me it's going to be one way going from Winthrop Avenue to Beach Street. So if you're coming off am I correct? I mean, no, 2-way, but the one way between Sewell Street and Winthrop.
Yes.
So from Winthrop Avenue, head up towards Harris, towards Beach Street. That little piece is one way. So if you're coming off the Parkway, the way the curb's cut out right now, is a right turn permitted there or not? Because that curb's coming way up to the street. I mean, coming off of 16 or out of Bell Circle, the lane swings around. But if you're coming from the police station heading towards Immaculate, and you want to make that right turn onto the Harris Street, I don't see how that's possible, especially with the school buses and stuff. And I know a lot of school buses cut through there. I spent a lot of time on Harris Street.
So
and watch the school buses cut
the one thing with the school buses is they have adjusted their routes since the traffic commission vote was taken. So
And they're putting them on up to, from Winthrop Avenue up to Beach Street, go straight up to Immaculate, to the lights, and then right to the high school that way?
correct.
Oh, boy. A lot of traffic. And I was also there with the community meetings at the beginning, and spoke with a lot of the residents and heard their concerns, along with Councilor McKenna at the time. And I don't think it's right when we go against the residents of the neighborhoods and people making decisions don't even live here. They're from other places coming in here and telling us how our street should be. You know, I mean, we councilors here, we're working with the residents, and all of a sudden we're hit with this street configuration and cars in neighborhoods, and I don't understand how it works that way. And it's a little concerning.
Well, I know I don't live here, but it's my goal to improve the lives of folks that do, and it's the intent of this project to do that as well. So we're going to continue to monitor operations and make sure this works the way we intend in a way that lessens the impact of neighborhood residents.
Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Tom, for being here tonight. Is there, in light of what we've heard this evening regarding lack of communication and notification and things like that, is there any reason why we couldn't postpone this, especially considering holiday traffic and things like that coming up? Is there any reason why we couldn't at least postpone this until January, after the first of the year?
I think we'd like to test it out before winter hits in full force. I think as complicated as it is now when
If that's the
we're-
case, we could wait till March or April. You know, if we want to wait until after the winter and then maybe give everybody a 90-day period from January 1st, give them 90 days to take this all in, to make any suggestions, or, you know, to just give residents the time for this to sink in and know that this change is coming, rather than hit them with something so quick, especially given the fact of the time of the year with the holiday traffic and all that. I mean, I would be more apt to see something like this take place in maybe April, April 1st, because you don't necessarily have the beach traffic yet. You've got a couple of months before that picks up, and you're probably out of the inclement weather phase. So, I don't know, just a suggestion.
Understood. I mean, I think although the flyers that just came out relatively recently, I mean, through our newsletter and, the mayor's office and multiple meetings with the Traffic Commission, we understand not everyone's gotten the word out. We feel like we did our best to make sure folks were communicated with, and I think ultimately we feel like in a low traffic time like now is the best time to test this out, whereas if we did it in April and had the 90-day period, we are getting pretty close into beach season, and I'd like to iron out any issues we have now first before we get to that more complicated, more high-volume traffic time of the year. Especially we'll get a little bit of time when school's out, and that's a really great time to tweak things, even some of the minor tweaks like what Councilor Cogliandro had mentioned.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Novoselsky.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, it's not my immediate area, but, all my neighborhood and people that live in my neighborhood use these roads on a regular basis. And I remember being at the Traffic Commission when they first started talking about it, and we stated our concerns about Sewell Street, about being a two-way and people losing their parking spaces. And there was a big concern back then. I never heard anything coming up on meetings at the Traffic Commission regarding these things. If they were there, then I missed them. But I would say that we were very concerned about Sewell Street. I can't see Sewell Street as a two-way street. Very, very thin, as everybody admits. And trying to relocate the parking really does not solve any kind of an issue other than make it more difficult for the neighbors, as it was stated. I have a big concern on Winthrop Ave in the area coming from Broadway. Winthrop Ave, the same area from McMacken. Beach Street backing up from Bell Circle to Vaza, as it was stated. And the Revere Beach Parkway westbound is terrible. I know it's during traffic time, but it's backed up almost to the police station on the westbound side. Eastbound's another issue because you got the lights at North Shore Road. I'm concerned about the timing of the traffic lights because right now there isn't much, the signalization is very short coming up, especially on the Revere Beach Parkway, westbound at Harris Street. And I wanted to know if there was going to be a delayed left turn on that new left turn lanes, the two lanes coming from 16 onto Winthrop Ave, onto the Revere Beach Parkway. If that was going to be a timing delay in any way that is going to cause another signalization change.
So, like a delayed is in an exclusive left-hand turn
Yeah.
light?
On those two new lanes that they're coming out of Bell Circle.
So there will be exclusive left turn lighting, but then again, we're removing a phase in the signal, so hopefully can expedite the process overall, I guess. On some taken together, it's still a quicker process with that additional exclusive turn.
That'll back up Revere Beach Parkway eastbound in front of the storage place, because they're gonna have to stop that traffic for that left-hand turn to take it.
It could be. I mean, there's also an additional right-hand turn for folks that are getting off onto Winthrop Ave.
Yeah.
That's not there today.
Yeah,
And I know that's not, there's still a lot
They're
of
still
folks that are
going from
through.
4 lanes down to 2 lanes.
Right.
You know, and that's a big concern. It's nice that they did the 2 lanes coming on that right-hand turn, but,
Point taken, and it's all what we're
you know,
going to be
it's something we
looking
have
at
to
and
look at.
monitoring
And
over
I
time.
think you really, really have to look at a lot of things, and the communication in general, you know, not gonna make everybody happy on this, but in general, a lot of the departments are poor in communication to us. Anyway, at least to us. A lot of things that are happening, I'm getting calls from people, oh, just got a letter from the city that they're doing different things. I didn't know anything about it, you know, and that doesn't make me look good, because, and the same thing with the other counselors. They say, I don't know, and they're saying, well, what do you know? You know, well, nobody's telling us, we can't answer them or give them some kind of response. And, you know, and I say that for all the departments. And so, you know, that's a big concern, so I hope that's straightens out a little when the new council comes in next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Hess.
Thank you, Mr. President, for the leeway. Tom, is there any way you can send us that attachment with everything in it, the closures and all the information, just so when the residents reach out to us after tonight, we'll have that information on hand? The flyer, as well as the things that you showed. I don't know if it was a PDF, but it would be nice to have that so we can have that information for the residents.
Happy to send all that over.
Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Any other counselors? Counselor Guarino-Swire.
Thank you, Mr. President. I agree with Councilor Novoselsky. We need to know what's happening way before any of this stuff is sent out to the neighbors and before any of these meetings. And you know, you and I had this conversation today regarding 2 other issues. I don't like to look stupid when a constituent calls me and says, oh, what's going on with this and this and this, and I don't have an answer. It just does not make us look right. It looks like we're not doing our job, where in fact, we are not being notified. I agree with Councilor Kelly. I think we should wait till April, because it just gives us the opportunity to learn more ourselves about what's actually going to happen and listen to our constituents and what they want. So I don't know if this is a done deal or if there is a wiggle room that we could actually hold off a little bit. And I think April would be a perfect month for it, because like she said, it's before the summer and after the winter. So, thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Permission to speak from the chair? Okay. So, Tom, I thought I was going to get a little bit of clarity on this. I think I got a little bit more confused because the way I see Bell Circle, coming from Bell Circle towards when so you'd be running parallel with Harris Street. You then get to the light where you can cross over going towards Chelsea, or you could, it looks like they made that so you can now come off the Parkway and turn down Harris Street, but from what you just said, that's going to be a one-way. So
Correct. One way in that direction. You can't go the other way. You can't go out from Harris Street into the intersection.
okay.
So that'll be for the residents in that stretch that need to access their homes.
Okay. And then my final concern was, as other counselors said, the backup and the congestion from Broadway to Bell Circle on Beach, and then both sides on Winthrop, I think is going to be a bigger issue. Timing of lights, all that I think really needs to be looked at. But also, I think what everyone's, I guess we'll address the elephant in the room. The amount of work that's been done making these curb cuts and these intersections, and I mean, is there a possibility the state even gives us a voice in this to say, hey, we might want to wait, hey, we might want to do this, hey, this isn't working out for us, we're going to go back? I don't believe that they're even going to give us a chance to speak on it, because that's just how it's been for the past. So like, what are the opportunities of changing these things if it doesn't work out?
I think there's a lot of opportunities to tweak various configurations within the neighborhood itself. I think Bell Circle, that slip lane, is going to be huge when it comes in, and we hope to start construction on that later in 2026. I think that there's plenty of room to make tweaks and adjustments to make this work better for the residents, and we're committed to doing that.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah. Councilor McKenna?
Thank you. Can I just ask why they made the turn, the pedestrian triangle so tight to take the turn from Winthrop Ave onto Harris Street, if this is the way that people are going to go, and there's going to be two ways to Sewell Street? Because getting from Winthrop Ave going down to Harris Street, they push the pedestrian triangle further into the street. And so when you're trying to make that turn, people are going to hit it, especially if cars are waiting there for the light.
So there's a lot of different things going on there at
To
that
slow it-
intersection, and we have added those additional 2 left-hand turns. There's a lot more going on in the right-of-way, so we don't have a lot of room to work with that turnaround. What I will say is it's going to be a little bit tight, but it's for a small group of people and a small group of people only. We don't want to encourage any other type of traffic going into Harris Street. So that actually could be a good thing as well. And as Councilor Giannino noted, the school buses aren't going to be there anymore. That would be an issue, but thankfully it's not anymore.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, councilors. This will be placed on file. Public comment. Thank you. Yes.
Calendar item number 4, the City Council will award a certificate of commendation to Sebastian Agudelo Gomez for his exemplary contribution to educating and informing the residents of Revere and representing the Colombian American community with integrity and distinction here in the largest Colombian American community in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Councilor Hermio.
Thank you, Mr. President. Before I read the certificate of commendation, I'd like to say about Sebastian, who's a 4-time Emmy Award-winning journalist for NBC and Telemundo, and has been covering our community, which is the most densely populated Colombian American community in the Commonwealth. As many of you know, I'm Colombian-born. And Sebastian has not just been informing our community as a whole, but has also been quite the representative for Colombian Americans in Revere and around the Commonwealth. So without further ado, I'd like to just read the certificate of commendation to Sebastian for his exemplary work. So, certificate of commendation in acknowledgement of his exemplary contribution to educating and informing the residents of the city of Revere and for representing the Colombian American community with integrity and distinction in the largest Colombian American community in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And whereas he is commended for his dedication, leadership, commitment to civic engagement, cultural representation, and public awareness by strengthening our community, elevating important voices, and fostering greater understanding among the residents of the city of Revere, a special recognition is hereby accorded to Sebastian Agudelo Gomez. This certificate of commendation is presented by the City Council of the City of Revere Massachusetts, on behalf of its citizens, this first day of December in the year of our Lord 2025, and of the independence of the United States of America, the 249th. Congratulations. Tony, you'll have to send me that. Thank you, brother. You gotta do it again. Yeah. Does the whole council want to get in? Yeah. He doesn't bite, I promise. I don't bite either. Can I bother you for?
That will be placed on file. Thanks for coming up tonight, Dana. I appreciate it.
All set? All right. This is in response to Council President Silvestri's motion on veterans exemptions. So I put together a little slideshow just to kind of go through what is available for veterans exemptions. Starting with the first one is Clause 22. This is a $412 exemption. There's a few different ways for a veteran to qualify. First way being they have to be at least 10% disabled, all the way up to 99%. It has to be a service-connected disability as defined by the USD VA. Second way, they could be awarded a Purple Heart. They could be a spouse of an eligible veteran or the surviving spouse who does not remarry. Second clause we have available is Clause 22A. That's a $772 exemption. That is achieved by a loss or loss of use of one hand above the waist, or 1 foot above the ankle, or one eye. Another way to qualify for that clause is they can be awarded a Congressional Medal of Honor, Distinguished Service Cross, Navy Cross, or Air Force Cross. Next available clause is Clause 22B. That's a $1,286 exemption. It's available to individuals who lost both hands or feet, loss of use of one hand above the wrist and 1 foot above the ankle, or loss of use of both eyes, blindness. Next clause available is a 22C, which is $1,544. You have to be permanently and totally disabled as rated by the VA and have specially adapted housing. Clause 22D, which is a full exemption. This is available to surviving spouses who have never remarried, of military personnel who have either went missing in action during active duty and presumed to have died, or have died as a proximate result of injuries sustained or illness contacted during active duty service. Clause 22E is $1,029. This is for disabled veterans who have 100% war-related disability as defined by the USDVA. Next available clause is Clause 22F, which is also a full exemption. And this is for a veteran who is a paraplegic due to service-connected disability. Also a full exemption is Clause 22H, which is surviving parents or guardian of military personnel who have either went missing in action during active duty and presumed to have died, or have died as a proximate result of injuries sustained or illnesses contracted during active duty service, also known as a Gold Star parent. Now, all of those exemptions, you do have to have ownership and domicile requirements, so you have to own and live in the property. We need DD 214 is provided and the Veterans Award Letter to show the percentage of disability. Each year, the period where you can apply for these exemptions opens up July 1st and it ends April 1st. If the veteran has received the exemption in the past, we automatically mail out those applications to them. And we pre-fill as much as the information as we can, just to make it as easy as possible for them. Another clause that we have adopted actually just last year, which was a result of the HEROES Act, was Clause 22A. So all of those funny amounts, what this clause allows us to do is increase all of those amounts each year by the cost of living adjustment. And we do get that from the Department of Revenue. They issue that number each year based on CPI. So, for example, the Clause 22, which is now $412, was previously $400, so the CPI was 3% last year, so it got increased 3%, same as the other exemptions. Another option that is available through the city is, for all our exemptions, is we double those exemptions. That's under Chapter 59, Section 5C1/2. The HEROES Act also gave cities and towns the availability to do this just for veterans exemptions. We chose to do this already for all of our exemptions. So it was kind of an all or nothing shot prior. Now cities and towns can, under this HERO Acts, they can just do it for veterans exemptions if they choose to. But again, we do them for all the exemptions. Also available is motor vehicle excise tax exemption. So it's a full exemption for one vehicle of a veteran who receives 100% disability rating. I did miss one on here that I remembered after was the Veterans Workout Program. That's available to veterans. They can work 66.6 hours, receive $1,000 in exchange off of their tax bill for working. That program is run through the Veterans Service Department, and that opens up in April as well. So that kind of runs the gamut of what we have for veterans exemptions. Available for any questions, comments?
Thank you, Dana. Any city councilors? Councilor Guerrero-Suaya.
Thank you, Mr. President. Hi, Dana, thank you for coming. Can you explain the doubling of the veterans tax break? I'm asking this because I spoke to a veteran in Ward 5, and he was explaining to me that he was at the VFW event that they had there, and it was explained by the VSO at the time and the city that they would be doubling the tax break, but that is not what's happening. He's getting an extra tax break, but not doubled.
Yeah, so it's up to double. It depends on what happens to their tax bill each year.
Up to double?
Yeah, it's up to doubled. So, for instance, if you're getting the $400 one, which is now $412, and your taxes increased $412 or $500, it would get doubled. So what it does is it insulates them from tax increases year over year. They're pretty much paying a level tax each year based on the base level for that is established the first year they receive the exemption. And then after that, it gets up to double depending upon how much their taxes increase each year.
So it's technically they're not getting, we're not doubling.
It's not a straight double, so it's not a guaranteed $824.
Okay.
It's up to
Up to.
$824.
Thank you.
But in pretty much 90% of the instances, they're getting double. because of the tax increases year over year.
Any other counselors? Okay, thank you, Dana.
Yeah, you're welcome.
This will be placed on file.
Public hearings, calendar item number 7. Hearing called is ordered for the purpose of establishing the minimum residential factors so that the Board of Assessors may proceed with the establishment of the tax rate for FY26.
Dana Brangiaforti, the Chairman of the Board of Assessors. I'm just here to recommend that the council votes out favorably tonight the 175% shift, which allows us to shift the tax rate and create a split tax rate of commercial and residential. This provides the greatest benefit to the residential taxpayer. It has historically been voted favorably ever since it's been in existence. Doing so would result in a residential factor of 0.882054 and would then allow us to move forward with setting the tax rate and issuing tax bills for fiscal year 26.
Thank you, Dana. Do we have any proponents? Anyone here in favor? Hearing none, closing that side. Any opponents? Anyone here against? Hearing none, closing that side. City councilors, Councilor Cogliandro.
Thank you, Mr. President. To the assessor, through you, how much is this going to raise the commercial tax rate?
So overall, will actually be a decrease in the commercial tax rate. So the way that the shift works is you start with the single tax rate and then apply the 175% to that single tax rate, and then creates, a residential and a commercial tax rate. So last year's commercial tax rate was $18.05, and this year would be $17.74, provided everything checks out with the Department of Revenue as it should.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other councilors? Okay.
I have a question.
Yes. Councilor Kelly.
So if I'm understanding correct, the commercial rate's going to go down, but the residential rate will be up, will be increased?
No, the residential rate is also projected to be down. So last year was $9.07 per thousand, and this year it'd be $8.94 per thousand.
Okay. But if values are up, there could still be an increase, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other councilors? Madam Clerk?
Shall the City Council adopt a minimum residential factor of 0.882054 to enable the Board of Assessors to establish the tax rate for fiscal year 26? Councilor Argenzio?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Cogliandro?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Janino?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Guarino Sawaya?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Hass?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Jaramillo?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Kelly?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor McKenna?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Novoselsky?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Zambudo?
Yes.
Yes. And Council President Silvestri?
Yes.
Yes, the minimum residential factor has been adopted. Public comment pursuant to Chapter 402 of the Acts of 1965.
We're now here at the public comment section. Any resident or business owner from Revere, please come up, give your name, address for the record. You have 2 minutes, and please give the order number which you'll be speaking on.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ed Terrell, 70 Sewell Street. I'll be talking about the Harris Street changes.
Thank you.
I don't even know where to begin, honestly, with the new traffic plans. Furious would not be the right word. A lot of this started, the neighborhood just asked for some traffic enforcement, which seems to be kryptonite to the city lately. All we asked was some enforcement, and we get this. It's just absolutely unbelievable, and the residents feel unheard. I don't have any confidence in this plan, absolutely none. And I have even less confidence in the director. And if I were the mayor, he would have been fired yesterday. And I would be asking for the entire traffic commission to resign. That's where I am. Furious is not the right word. I really do hope this works out. but we live in a elderly-focused neighborhood. My parents are elderly. We've had to have them medical aid several times. If we can't get a fire truck down there due to traffic, there is going to be hell to pay. And that's all I want to say about that, because I am just absolutely furious. Mr. President, I'd also like to talk about two other topics. The first one is apparently there's been a new fight at the high school where a young lady her hair was dragged across the floor. I don't know how many people have seen the video that's been going around.
It's not on the agenda, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Both points are not on the agenda. If I could have a little leeway, Mr. President?
1 minute.
Thank you. So I'd really like I don't know what the council wants to do with this, but I would just recommend something be done. And then the final point I want to make is something I've talked to Councilor Zambudo about, is that my sources are telling me that a 22-year-old student at the high school and a 15-year-old student are having a relationship. Now, apparently, according to state law, students over 18 are allowed to stay in the school system until they reach 21. I don't know all the details about this, but I find it troubling. And I hope it's not true. So I just would like someone to look into this. It is a very touchy subject, but it needs to be addressed. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else that would like to speak with public comment? Public comment?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sure. Rich Viscay, 2 on Broadway. I'm sorry, I don't know the council order, but I'm here to talk about the traffic study. And I didn't realize how passionate people were about this, but I've owned a house on Harris Street for 30 years, and I don't know why everyone thinks it's so great right now. It's treacherous. People fly down that street doing 70 miles an hour, try to catch that light. I think this plan is actually good. I don't think it's perfect, but some of the things I think that should be addressed is I agree with all due respect to Councilor Argenzio, I don't think Harris Street should be a one-way off a beach. I think that would be pretty treacherous. I do like the idea that Sewell Street will be a two-way. I don't think that taking parking away from that block is a big deal, because that's the housing authority. People don't park on that street anyway. It's a very small area. I think we got to give this a chance, but I will say this, at the top of Harris Street, when you take a right on the Beach Street, that bus stop should be moved to the west side, because you go up the top of Harris Street, when you take a left, you can't even see if a truck's parked there, so I would move that bus stop to the west side of Beach Street, and that would make the right side 2 lanes, so that the right lane could make its way onto Bell Circle to get into that, to get to Winthrop Ave on the left, and then the people who have to go straight and get into Bell Circle, they'll never figure out how to merge in, so they just sit there like idiots, and that's why the traffic backs up. So you need 2 lanes from Beach Street at Connor Harris up to Bell Circle, with that one right-hand lane. It's gonna have to be a great slip lane, but that traffic backs up right now. It's gonna be treacherous with 1 lane if there's no cut-through, but anyone who thinks keeping Harris Street as a cut-through to 16 that's a terrible idea. They blow through the stop sign. I mean, there could be more traffic control, but this, I believe, is gonna make that neighborhood a much safer neighborhood, not a much more dangerous neighborhood, so I just thought it was worth mentioning. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Viscay. Do we have anyone else? Public comment? Name and address?
Jim Mercurio, 193 Crescent Ave. This is regarding the Harris Street diversion of traffic. A couple of things I'm a little concerned about is when you take 2-way traffic away and convert it into a 1-way, we create patterns that new shortcuts, and drivers looking for the fastest route will naturally divert into neighboring streets. Even a modest increase in daily traffic can significantly change the character of a small residential road. They didn't look at the big picture here. They just concentrated on Harris Street, though the plan might work, but they didn't take into consideration the smaller streets, the Sewell Street, the Bixby's. These are tight neighborhoods as they are. diverting more traffic into that area, and it's going to happen. They haven't done any, they just did a traffic study on Harris Street. They haven't done any traffic studies on these smaller streets. I think this needs to be done. Another issue is public safety. They haven't done any studies on the fire trucks not going down Harris Street any longer. How are they going to be diverted? Which routes are they going to take? EMS getting down into that area, to the Sewell Street area, the Bixby Street areas. We didn't see any studies of that being presented by the Tom. So we need to look at those studies first and different traffic patterns in that area, how that's going to affect that area. So I think we should take a step back. I like Councilor Kelly's idea of setting back until April and really take a deep look into this area one more time because a lot of people are concerned. I can see the concern in the council's face, and I'm hearing a lot from the residents in that area already. And I think we need more accountability from the administration about this, what's happening and what's going on. I think that's important. So I hope we all take all this into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Any other residents that would, business owners? Okay, closing that.
Legislative Affairs Subcommittee report.
Councilor Argenzio.
Thank you, Mr. President. We had two issues before us this evening. The first one was an ordinance further amending the Affordable Housing Trust Fund powers and duties. We looked upon this favorably, and I asked for a roll call in the affirmative.
Ordered on a second reading. Ordered on a third and final reading. Madam Clerk, roll call for engrossment and endangerment.
Shall the City Council approve an ordinance further amending the Revere revised ordinances relative to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund powers and duties? Councilor Argenzio.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Cogliandro.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Janino.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Guarino Sawaya.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Hass.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Jaramillo. Yes. Yes. Councilor Kelly.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor McKenna. Yes. Yes. Councilor Novoselsky.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Zambudo.
Yes.
Yes. And Council President Silvestri.
Yes.
Yes. The ordinance is engrossed and ordained.
Councilor Argenzio.
Yes, the second item before us was an ordinance relative to sign maintenance. We looked upon this favorably, and I would like to call for a roll call to look on this affirmatively.
Thank you, Councilor. Ordered on a second reading. Ordered on a third and final reading. Roll call for engrossment and ordainment.
Shall the City Council approve an ordinance further amending the Revere revised ordinances relative to storefront signage maintenance? Councilor Argenzio.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Cogliandro.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Janino.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Guarino Sawaya.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Hass.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Jaramillo. Yes. Yes. Councilor Kelly.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor McKenna. Yes. Yes. Councilor Novoselsky.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Zambudo.
Yes.
Yes. And Council President Silvestri.
Yes.
Yes. The ordinance is engrossed and ordained. Zoning Subcommittee report.
Councilor Zambudo.
Thank you, Mr. President. The zoning subcommittee met this evening on one item, 25-304, Shirley Ave Realty Trust, trustee James Perry, 65 Court Road, Chelsea, Mass., requesting a special permit from the Revere City Council to allow existing storefront and 9 residential units to remain in place where city records indicate storefront and 6 residential units at 85 Shirley Ave, Revere, Mass. This is really ends up to be just a clerical fix, and this has been there for years, and they're going to be brought up to code, and that's the good part about this. Well, the committee voted favorably, unanimously, and I would ask for a roll call, please.
Thank you, Councilor. Madam Clerk.
Shall the City Council grant the relief requested, subject to the findings and conditions as reported by the Zoning Subcommittee? Counselor Agenzio?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Cogliandro?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Janino?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Guarino Sawaya?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Hass?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Jaramillo?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Kelly?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor McKenna?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Novoselsky?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Zambudo?
Yes.
Yes. And Council President Silvestri?
Yes.
Yes, the special permit has been granted, subject to the conditions as discussed in zoning subcommittee. Next up is the Climate, Workforce, and Sustainability Subcommittee report.
Counselor Jaramillo.
Mr. President, we heard a communication from the Chief of Planning and Community Development requesting to give us some information about the North Suffolk Office of Resilience and Sustainability, and we placed that presentation on file.
Thank you, Counselor. It'll be placed on file.
Communications, calendar item number 12, communication from the city auditor requesting an appropriation from the Community Improvement Trust Fund in the amount of $35,000 for renovations to Fitzhenry Park.
Hey, Tom.
Evening, councilors. Thomas Growski, 281 Broadway, at least for now, the Chief of Planning and Community Development for the city. So I'm I'm here to speak on Fitzhenry Park. I think the motions speak for itself. This is a project that we've been working on for quite some time. We're using multiple sources of funding. We are fortunate to receive a $40,000 earmark from Representative Turco's office. We also received a grant from the neighborhood developers working with Mass Development. And then we also have community development block grant funds to complete this job. And we are asking for CIT funding to cover the remaining balance of funds. This is one of 3 new parks that we've installed in the Shirley Avenue neighborhood, along with the 69 Shirley Avenue Forest Pocket Park and the Flaherty Square improvements that are currently underway. One of many improvements we've been able to make with the help of CIT and CDBG over the years. Happy to take any questions you might have.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions? Counselor Novoselsky?
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, this is something we've been working on, I'd say, almost 2 years now. I know the look-forward point has been 10 years, but the last 2 years have been very, very active. And I think that we want to use the CTI money as part of a group financial package. So everybody's putting into this. And, you know, the city has their 2 cents and everybody else put in their 2 cents. So it's a local dog park. You know, it's the first one on the east coast, east side of Revere. And we look forward to it. It's coming along very well, and we look forward to it opening up soon. We know really won't be finished until the spring, but use will be very shortly. So
some landscaping needs to be finished in the spring, but hopefully in December it'll be opened up.
Excellent. Thank you, Counselor. Counselor McKenna?
Tom, I know in one of the parks, there's a very, very, very old horses. They used to drink out of it. What are you going to do with it?
We aren't touching it. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
we tried to relocate it in the park in a more prominent location. And
Didn't work.
once we dug into it, we realized if we dug deeper, we were compromising the integrity. So we're keeping it as is and working around
We
it.
should have like a little plaque that, oh, there is a plaque?
we're going to do.
Okay,
Working on
thank
it.
you.
If I may, Mr. President.
Counselor
Thank you.
Novoselsky.
Just to go forward on this, there was an old horse watering trough on Kimball Avenue side of Flaherty Square, and I insisted that it not be relocated or moved, and when they looked at it and say how weak it could be, they didn't want to crack it. So it's being built into the package of the design. And also on the dog park, we're putting in a horse tie post, and along with a step for the people who used to get off the carriages. They used to be used, it was on the sidewalk across the street at Fitzhenry Square, but when they put new sidewalks in, they took it out and they put it over at the dog park, and we're going to install it at the dog park with a historical monument with it. So, thank you.
Very nice. Thank you, Counselor. Permission to speak from the chair? Thank you. Tom, I just want to say this one was one project that I really liked the way that the city went after it. The city included the residents. They had them come down there, use the sticky boards, ideas that they would like to see. And I think it was really cool. I can't wait to see how it comes out. So I appreciate the effort put into it. So thank you. Can we have a roll call?
Shall the City Council approve an appropriation from the Community Improvement Trust Fund in the amount of $35,000 for renovations to Fitzhenry Park? Councilor Agenzio?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Cogliandro?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Janino?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Guarino Sawaya?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Hass?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Kelly? Councilor Jaramillo? Yes. Councilor Kelly?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor McKenna?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Novoselsky?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Zambudo?
Yes.
Yes. And Council President Silvestri?
Yes.
Yes, the appropriation has been approved. Motions, calendar item number 13, motion presented by Council President Silvestri, that the City Council award a certificate of merit to Peachy Chom of the Revere Police Department in recognition of his promotion from Master Sergeant to Sergeant Major in the Massachusetts Army National Guard.
The motion speaks for itself. I'll hold my comments for that night, but a few of us were able to attend his promotion today, this afternoon at the Revere Police Station. This is the highest an enlisted soldier can raise in the ranks. So a noble feat and an honor. So any other counselors? All in favor, all opposed? So ordered.
We have one late motion presented by Councilor Jaramillo, that the City Council award a certificate of commendation to Doris Amparo Morales Suarez in recognition of her milestone 60th birthday in which she has lived with epilepsy her entire life. Further, in recognition and support of individuals and families affected by epilepsy, like Doris and her family, that the City Council declare the month of November 25 as Epilepsy Awareness Month to raise awareness and reduce stigma about epilepsy, a chronic neurological disorder.
Councilor Jaramillo.
Motion speaks for itself. I'll reserve my comments for the presentation. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor. That closed tonight's business. And Councilor Novoselsky, you have a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President. Appreciate it. As everybody knows, this time of year is holiday season. And you know that the holiday lights at City Hall and around the city will be lit on Saturday at 5 o'clock, I believe, or 4:30. So we invite everybody to that. And then on December 14th, Hanukkah starts. We'll be lighting our candles, starting that. And on December 17th, we'll be having the menorah lighting in the front of City Hall at 4:30. So we invite everybody to come down and join us and have everybody celebrate together. And we've had great crowds in the past, and the city is very diverse, and it's nice to see that everybody is working together and living together. So thank you for that. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Guarino Sawaya.
Thank you. I'd like to take a moment of personal privilege as well. I just want to remind everyone that Saturday, the 6th of December, we will be having our parade and the Priscilla Nickerson Walk. The parade will begin at 4:15. If anybody who wants to get on a float, it will be at Revere High School. We will leave at 4:30 and travel up to around Newhall, down Malden Street, and down Broadway, where we will have the Christmas tree lighting at 6 p.m. So if anybody would like to join us and come join the festivities, please do. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. And that closes tonight's meeting. Have a great day.